Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? I usually say this evening, but it's one of these today. I slept through the entire night. So it is Wednesday morning at 6:35 a.m., but this is actually Tuesday's vlog that I'll be posting on Wednesday, which I know is confusing for a lot of people, but I came home from my meeting last night, and I brought Alex and I food, and after I ate, I was like, I've got to lay down for a little bit. I'm so tired. And he was like, okay, babe, and then he came up like a half an hour later, and I said, oh, I thought you were gonna stay up a little bit later, and he was like, no, I'm done watching TV. He was like, I'm really tired too. And so I had set my alarm, and I only had like a half an hour left, and so I just turned my alarm off so it wouldn't wake him up. And I woke up, and it was like, so that was at like 11, and then I woke up at like 1:30, and I was like, just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. I was so tired. And then I woke up, and it was like 4 something, and I was like, oh, just 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. And then I woke up, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't vlog, I have to go vlog. So, here I am, vlogging. I'm actually kind of like waking up, and I'm like, I have a feeling that I'm probably not gonna go back to bed, that I'm kind of up for the day, which isn't a bad thing. Today, Wednesday, is like one of my favorite days of the year because it's Halloween Eve, but I'll talk about that in tomorrow's vlog. So anyway, Tuesday, what did I do? Let me use my Huckleberry lip balm here. I got up, hung out with the doggies, and then, oh man, what did I do yesterday? Or today, whenever you're watching this. I'm confused. What did I do? I got up and kind of hung around the house for a little bit. Cleaned out my suitcase and all that, put that away. Did a load of laundry. And then, of like everything that I had taken with me. And then I went and I got coffee. Do I have my cup in here because I might want to get coffee later? Yeah. I went and got coffee, and then from there I went and I did this review at Panera Bread of one of those warm grain bowls. And then, I was driving around doing errands, and so I stopped by the kennel to see if Tanya was there, and she wasn't there. I ended up giving one of the girls that works there, I gave her the rest of that Panera stuff. She's like, oh my God, I love it. She's like, I've had it like 3 times. And I was like, you like it? And she was like, yeah, I love it. And I was like, well, you can have it. I saw it because I had it on the front seat of my car. Oh, it's funny, they have like a dinosaur sticker on their Jeep. So I gave that to her, and then I went and I ran some more errands, and then I came home and I filmed some videos, and then Tanya had said, like, let's go early tonight to the meeting. So I was trying to, like, get ready early. I bought this really cute flannel. It's like a kind of a flannel, but not really a flannel shirt at Meijer. And it's really pretty colors, though. It's like very fallish colors, but kind of brighter than that. So Alex had gotten home when I was getting ready, and he was like relaxing because he still doesn't feel great. And I have like my seat warmer on, and it's like that's perfect, but like it fluctuates between being cold and being warm in this car. How do I just do the defrost out there? And it's 45 degrees out right now. It's supposed to be cold tomorrow. Last night it was like, or it was kind of like, it was like, it almost felt like it was spitting snow when we were leaving the meeting. So I took a shower. I actually looked rather nice. I was gonna say cute. Well, I did. I looked cute right there. I wore this little like flannel shirt that I got at Meijer, and then I wore these striped socks that I got them at Meijer too. They're like these Keith Haring socks with these New Balance shoes that I have that are like red and blue, and a pair of jeans like rolled up. I have the jeans on right now actually. And then I went to go pick up Tanya. I thought I was gonna be running really early. I wasn't super late, but I wasn't early. Like I usually pick her up at like 7:30. Early would be 7:20, and it was like 7:26 when I picked her up. So I need to get one of those Mrs. June's cleaners for my windshield again. So I picked her up at like 7:20 or 7:26. I remember right when I pulled in, I looked at the clock. So she was like, she like called me on like my way, and she was like, "What's your ETA?" And I was like, 20 seconds. I'm pulling in right now. Get ready. Come on, Tanya Jean. So she came out, and actually I think she was like standing out there when I pulled up. Yeah, I think she was standing out there. So anyway, we went to our meeting tonight. It's a good meeting. Like our little group was on gratitude, and Tanya was like, they always have these cookies at the church, like the ladies at like the church ladies, they leave us like cookies, which is really nice. And so Tanya was like, oh, these are really good. And she's like, do you like butterscotch? And they were like those butterscotch cookies that they put over those Chinese noodles. And I go, oh, Tanya, I don't like those. And she was like, no, they're really, really good. And I go, no, I don't like those. Those are the ones that they put butterscotch over Chinese noodles. And she goes, no, it's over pretzels. And I go, really? She goes, yeah, it's over pretzels and it's really good. But they look like the Chinese. If you ever had them, you'll know what I'm talking about. And what's funny about it is I have like one aunt on my dad's side that she's like real involved in the church. And she used to make them, and for some reason in my head, like I associate them with her and Jell-O salad, and I don't like either one of those. They're like kind of very church pitching kind of things to me that I associate with that. And so, like at the end, I didn't get one because they didn't look good, but at the end of the meeting, I was like kind of hungry, and I was like, so I got one of the cookies. And sure enough, Tanya Jean didn't know what she was talking about. They were those Chinese noodle cookies. I was like, Tanya, those are those Chinese noodle cookies. I told you that. She was like, is that what they were? She was like, I thought they were pretzels. I was like, well, I knew as soon as it entered my mouth how disgusting it was. Then after the meeting, we stood around and talked, and then I took her to go get a fountain pop because she wanted to go get a fountain pop. And so, did that, and then I was hungry. So I called Alex and asked him if he was hungry, and I was really wanting an Impossible Burger from Burger King because I'm really going to legitimately focus on trying to get back on this diet here soon, and like the 1st of November. And so he was like, yeah, but I really want Taco Bell. And I was like, okay. So I was like, just let me know what you want from Taco Bell. And he put, like, he texted what he wanted to me. He texted me burrito super box. So I thought this was like some new thing, and he meant like, I'm behind a school bus. Creaky Halloween door. My mom used to always do that. She'd go, creaky Halloween door. But anyway, he meant like the burrito supreme box or a meal. No, he put burrito super meal. But I thought he meant, that's what I thought he, anyway. They don't have a burrito super meal. They only have, it's so fun, because I've told this story in here before, but it reminded me of my friend that I used to work with, which was so, maybe that was why I had this dream. I had this weird dream tonight that it was like me and like two of these women that I used to work with, and we were like all like sitting around, and I was like talking to them about doing some, it was like the weirdest dream. It was like really weird. But anyway, this one woman I worked with forever, and anyway, it was weird that I had this dream. I'll tell that about that dream in a second, but anyway. So he like texts me almost, he's like, okay, a burrito super meal, but a soft taco instead of a hard taco. 2 hard tacos and a Mexican pizza. It was like all this stuff. I was like, okay. So I ordered it, and the guy's like, what do you mean by a super meal? And I'm like looking at the thing, I'm like, did he get it wrong? And I'm like, oh, burrito supreme meal. And then it just, anyway, the whole thing got messed up. And then I went, and Burger King was right, like literally, like there's like a Pizza Hut in between, and then there's a Burger King. So I went, I got my Burger King, and then I took it home, and we sat there and ate. And he had been watching the Kardashians, so we watched the end of the Kardashians, and then the beginning of the Real Housewives of Orange County. I almost like can't even, like, I don't mind those shows, like I like them, you know, to watch sometimes, but it's just, it's so much screaming and yelling like all the time. Like I went upstairs to bed, and I was like, I'm gonna go lay down for a little bit, I'm really, really tired. And he was like, okay. And so I went upstairs to go lay down, and I forgot like what it's like driving behind the school bus. So anyway, I said, I'm gonna go lay down for a little bit, and he goes, okay. So I brought Boo Radley upstairs with me, and I was like laying down, and like he was, I could hear him the whole show downstairs. Like sometimes because of our loft, like it's weird, like the sound comes from the back of the TV, so sometimes it goes like up right into the room, you know, instead of like, so you can, I mean, it's like you're literally sitting right in front of the TV. This school bus is like trying to be nice and let me pass. So I'm like laying there, and they're like at this dinner, and they're fighting about, what were they fighting about? It was so stupid. And I was like, they're at this like costume tea party thing for Vicky, which Vicky's not even supposed to be on this season, and now she's like on tons of this season all of a sudden. So they're like fighting about something. It was so stupid what they were fighting about. And I go, Alex, can you please turn it down just a little bit? He was like, yeah, sure, babe. So he turned it down. I was like, I cannot, like, it's just a lot to me. You guys, I am so behind on this book for the book club this month. I don't know how I'm gonna get it done in time to, I'm gonna have to legit listen to like 5 hours in one day. That's what I get for waiting till the very end. Like, it wouldn't really matter, but like I have all kinds of stuff I want to do today, because it's like the day before Halloween, and then Halloween, you know. So So tonight, I had this weird dream, right? And it was like, when I was working in treatment, and like we were getting ready, anyway. So I worked with this woman. She was never my supervisor. We were always just equals. But I mean, I worked with her from the very get-go. And do you ever like have a friendship that like you don't even realize till like later is not healthy for you, but you don't like realize it at the time, right? Obviously, I don't have siblings because I'm an only child, but like if I did have like an older sister, even though we were like very close in age, I think we were like, she was like a year older than me or like 6 months older than me. She would have very much been like that older sibling counterpart to me that was like, I perceived as being perfect. And so it's like, you know, when you have that sibling that's like, is perfect in mom and dad's eyes. And so I always thought she was like perfect, you know, and like could do no wrong, and our supervisor loved and whatever. And what's really weird, like looking back on it, is anyway, it's just like her situation was always just very, she was just very kid-gloved there. And I don't know, it's just interesting when I look back on the whole situation, you know? But like she was somebody that like I had to have like acceptance and validation from. Like I needed it from her. And I don't think much about her anymore. In fact, when I left there, I kind of didn't at all, you know? And because I could kind of see it for what it was. And then, but she's definitely in my life like somebody that I have sought validation and acceptance from, like, strongly. I don't know why. I don't know why her, you know? Like, when I look at people in my life, I don't know why. Like, today, she's not anybody that I would, like, seek validation and acceptance from. You know, I think a lot of it was that I got sober, and then that was, like, the first job sober that I had, and I just was, like, trying to do everything, you know, and be this, I don't know what it was, but like I always just looked up to her, and even to the point of kind of like not necessarily playing dumb so that she had the answers, but always kind of being like, I don't know. But like when I look back on that situation, and I think like, if you had asked me like at that time that I left, like who was one of the people that I was closest with, I would have said her. And now, like, I mean, it has been so long, you guys. I was thinking about this the other day. I have been gone from there almost as long as I worked there. Like, that's crazy to me, you know? And I was there, like, I mean, it's been a long time since I worked there. For me to still be having kind of, like, nightmarish dreams about it is weird. So anyway, but if you had asked me at the time that I like left there, I would have been like, oh yeah, she and I are like super close, and she was probably one of my closest friends that I had when I was there. And in retrospect, now that I see it for what it really was, I'm like, no, she was really pretty toxic to my life. In that I don't think that she ever had my best interest in mind. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think, like, I look at the genuine friendships that I have in my life today, and the way that, oh my God, all that corn is gone. Look, they harvested all the corn. It's all gone. In the way that, like, my friendships, all of the corn is gone. In the way that my friendships are today, you know, and that my friendships today, both ways, not just with them to me, but with me to them too, you know, like when stuff's going on, we explain it. And she's like, I don't know if I've told this story on here. I tell this story a lot in like my personal life, but so I was at this restaurant one time when we were both getting our master's degrees, and it was like a Saturday. I feel like I just told this story on here not too long ago. I don't know why. I've been like that story's come up a couple times recently, so I guess I have thought about her. I don't know. But we were like in this restaurant. I was so excited to see her. She was somebody that I looked up to, you know? And I was like, let's just say her name was like Judy Smith. And I was like, Judy! And I like shouted at her. It was like a Saturday. It was like loud. It was like Patashu, you know? And she looked over at me and she goes, and we're like the same age, okay? She wasn't like 60. I mean, we're literally the same age. And she was like, hold it down. She like shushed me. I should have been like, blow it out your ass. Like, seriously? Like, today, I would totally not tolerate that. I just wouldn't. If somebody shushed me today, I'd be like, excuse me? I would literally get up and go over and cause a scene. I would be like, did you just shush me? No, I'm not. I'm nobody's to be shushed today. I'm sorry. You know, it was interesting because I had done this video about like the Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, like the 5th episode. And in the 5th episode, they talk a lot about Morgan Adams, who is, you know, Ryland's sister, who is Shane's fiance, is Ryland. I'm just telling, for those that don't watch, I know it's hard to believe, but there are people that on my vlog, that watch my vlog, that don't watch Shane Dawson. There are people that have no idea who Shane Dawson is. So, but anyway, in the video, in my recap, I was talking about, like, I really thought that Shane was trying to show, like, be yourself, love yourself, whatever, for who you are. Because I do believe that, you know? It's taken me 40-some years. I say it's taken me 47 years, but I don't know, maybe 44, maybe 45. It's taken me a long time to get to the point where I love myself enough to know that this is who I am. This isn't changing. My voice isn't changing. My loudness isn't changing. My being colorful isn't changing. My being opinionated isn't changing. This is who I am. And I should embrace that. And I should love myself for who I am. And allow myself to live in that skin. Because I think that that's being truly authentic and genuine to who you are. And truly. Okay, it was at the end and I didn't know it. And I couldn't get it to focus. But anyway, so what I was talking about was, you know, learning to be, like, authentic to who you are in your own skin, you know? And embracing that. And not being afraid to show that, you know what I mean? And I think that that's really what Shane was saying in that episode. And I'm, like, commenting on that in my video. And I got, like, not a lot, but I got comments, you know, that were like, could you turn the flame down and stop being so gay? And, you know, like, oh my God, like, it just, you know, people criticizing who I am. Like, you're so loud. Like, why do you have to be so loud? Like, you know, I can't watch you because you're so loud or whatever. And I thought, you know, these are the same kinds of people that... And today, what that does is, that makes me want to be louder. It makes me want to be more colorful, you know, because I feel like I was contained for so long. Self-contained. I chose to be, you know, when people would shush me, because, you know, like, that person that I worked with, she wasn't the only person in my life that had shushed me. I had been shushed pretty much my entire life by society, telling me that who I was and how I acted was wrong, you know? That there was something wrong with how my voice sounded. There was something wrong with how I walked. There was something wrong with how I acted. When what I know today is there's nothing wrong with it except for other people's perceptions of it. If you have a problem with it, it's because you have a problem with it, not because there's a problem with it. Does that make sense? Well, that took me a long time to understand, because I didn't like walk like other guys, and because I didn't talk like other guys. There was something wrong with me. It's how I thought in my head, when what I know today is that is absolutely not true. There's no truth to that statement whatsoever, right? But like, it took me a hell of a long time to embrace that and be like, who I am is who I am, you know, and I'm gonna love myself for me, and that's true self-acceptance, right? But like, that took a lot of work. These cars will not literally let me over. They are like going so fast. But it took a lot of work to get to that point where I feel that way today. And, but I think it's crazy that it's like, you know, like, especially like on YouTube, it's like, if we love somebody, then we accept it. But if we don't, we criticize it. If that makes sense. Like, whatever traits they have that we don't like. But I think it's sad that, like, it took me this long in my life to get to the point where, that I wouldn't allow myself to be shushed today, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to figure out what is going on with this windshield. It's like so weird. It's like right here. I don't know why it is always right there. Up there, it goes away. But I think, you know, for me, the lesson was getting to the point where I didn't allow that anymore in my life. I think it's sad it took me as long as it did to get to that point where I was like, no, I'm not gonna be shushed anymore. And I don't mean literally shushed. I mean figuratively as well, where people told me that, you know, indirectly, or how they treated me or whatever, I was too loud, that I wasn't right, like I wasn't, you know, whatever I did wasn't correct. I've talked about this before. There's this Indigo Girls. I'm a huge Indigo Girls fan. I never talk about that on here, but like, they're like one of my favorite bands of life, and I like own all of their music. But Least Complicated is one of my favorite songs of theirs. I should actually look at the lyrics, and I'll tell you what the exact lyrics are, because I always get the lyrics wrong. But whenever I hear it, I always think of like, it's like kind of the story of my life, honestly. Least Complicated lyrics. Now it's like toasty warm in here. I sit 2 stories above the street. It's awful quiet here when love fell asleep. Okay, anyway. So she says in here, I remember the time when I came so close to you, sent me skipping my class and running from school, and I bought you that ring because I never was cool. And you know, whenever I hear that line, and then it says, what makes me think I could start clean slated, the hardest to learn was the least complicated. And you know, the thing is like, that line seems like such a simple line, but for me, that idea of, like, she buys her this ring, and she says, you know, like, this is, I bought you the ring, but, like, I was never cool. Like, I always was doing the wrong thing, right? Like, no matter what it was. And I feel like that's been, like, me, you know, like, I don't know, like, you guys, I have to show you something. Oh, there's like this shuttle that's letting people off, but I want to show you something. Because this is crazy to me. Oh, he's like getting out of the shuttle and everything, so I don't know that I can do this. Is he getting back in the shuttle? Now I've got that song stuck in my head. So for quiet here since I fell asleep. My favorite song by the Indigo Girls is Closer to Fine. He's literally sitting right in front. You guys, I want to show you this stuff that's over here, but do you see there's like this like truck and it's literally sitting like right up there. It moves. Okay. Now I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to show you, okay? I want you to look very, very closely. Okay, I had to stop it because there were people walking out that I don't know that they would want to be on video. So, can we talk about that for a second? Do we have Santa Clauses out? What? No, Tati, no. Right next to the pumpkins over here. Oh my God. So anyway. But I feel like, yeah, like I feel like it has taken me my entire life. You know, like, okay, all the way back, like, I can remember, like, in elementary school, like, when I would want to get, you know, some girl in my class, like, a Valentine's Day, like, a legit, like, big Valentine's Day, because I, like, had a crush on her or whatever, you know, and, like, my mom would really support stuff like that, because my mom was sweet, you know, and so, like, I would go and I would pick out this special Valentine's, but, like, nobody else in class would do that, and it was just, like, so that I would look like this idiot, you know, or... I'm still like that kind of, like, I feel like when, oh my God, my lip balm like rolled so far up there that it's like sitting in the back. Okay, but anyway, like if I'm like, not with my close friends, but like if I go to dinner with somebody, where's that Huckle? Oh, that's the one. You know, like that I don't know real well or something, like if we go out, like, you know, like a friend of Alex's or something that I haven't met before, like a work friend or something. I feel like sometimes, like, I say stuff that to me is completely normal. Tanya and I were actually having this conversation tonight. That to me is completely normal. But like, apparently it's the wrong thing to ask, I don't know, or the wrong thing to say. Like, I literally was just having this conversation with Tanya tonight. You know, I was saying like, you know, there are like friends of like, you know, I have friends that like are Alex's friends too, but they're like not as close of friends as, you know, they're more my friends than his and vice versa. And Tanya and I were talking about that tonight because she was talking about like, you know, something to do with her husband. And so I was like sharing something with mine. And I said, do you ever feel like, I said, I don't know if it's like being in recovery and it's like the language that we speak, or I don't know what it is. It's like, it's so weird. Like it gets cold in here so quick. I don't know what it is. It's like I don't know if we're just so open to each other in recovery that like conversations that we have with each other, like real people don't have in real life, or if it's just certain specific people. I'm at the point where I just don't know anymore. And I said, you know, like, there's like this little restaurant next to that gym over there. I was wondering what that was one night when I pulled by, and I was like, because they have like, oh, they have the blinds down. Well, no, it's not that they have the blinds down, it's a restaurant. Called Healthies or something. But anyway, so I said, you know, like, we'll be out to like dinner, you know, with like one of Alex's girlfriends or something. And I mean, let's, you know, not like a Sarah, because I've known Sarah forever, but like somebody that like, you know, like let's say, I don't know, that I've gone out to dinner with or hung out with like 5 or 6 times, enough to know him, right? You know, and they'll have been dating some guy for like 3 years, and they'll be sitting there talking about, you know, the relationship or whatever, and I'll be like, oh, you know, like, so how is he? And, you know, oh, he's good, you know, like, blah, 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 and we've, you know, been living together for 2 years. Oh, you've been living together for 2 years? Yeah. And then, like, I'll be like, do you guys ever think about getting married? And then they look at me just like, did you seriously just ask that? And I'm like, what did I say something wrong? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's these kind of questions. And I was saying to Tanya, I was like, I feel like all my life, I've always said the wrong thing, you know what I mean? And I don't ask like super probing questions, I just don't, you know? But like, I always feel like I've, you know, done the wrong thing, or, yeah, I don't know, like, I've always been kind of socially awkward, and I think today, I don't know. I think today we put all kinds of diagnoses on that stuff. But I also think it's why I've always been like attracted, and I don't mean in the romantic sense, but to like people that are different, you know, but thrived in their being different, you know, like people like Janis Joplin, or, you know, it's one of the reasons why like I love the YouTuber Amelia Fart that I did the video with, you know. She just embraces who she is. And the thing that's like so cool about Amelia is like when you meet her, like that's not an act. That's like who she is, genuinely. Like I'll never forget walking into her Airbnb that she was staying at. You know, she'd just been sitting down there like doing her makeup. And she's like in this whole outfit with like, you know, this feather boa on and stuff like that. And we're sitting there talking, and it's literally like not a whole lot different than watching one of her videos, you know? Like that's who she is. And I don't think that you have to be like, I think this is something that I misunderstood in my youth, was that I thought that you had to be like loud and color. Like, I mean, I like those words as adjectives to me, you know, but I don't think that you have to be like in your face and loud, and like when you're walking down the street, like you're the most colorful person in the world, and you're a, you know, afloat in your own parade and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe that today. I did though in my youth. I thought like for me to be different inside and embrace what makes me different than every other person, and the reality is we all are, each and every single one of us is our own entities, is an individual to our own selves. And like I even like in high school, my friends and I, we would talk about wanting to be individuals, you know. Oh, we're individuals, you know. What does that mean? You know, it means that we don't conform to what everybody else is like. But in reality, all of us is our own individual, you know. And today I understand that, and I don't need to like, I guess, make this huge point about it, you know, like on a day-to-day basis from how I look. I mean, I can, you know, go out and throw like Like, you know what's so funny is that I forget that this hat says Icon a lot, right? Like, people will, like, stop and they're like, I think they're looking at me, and I'm like, oh, they're looking at me. And they're looking at, I just realized, I just thought that a fountain pop sounded so good. I don't know why. But they're looking at my hat a lot, because I just think of this as just like a regular, like, trucker hat. Like, I completely forget that it says, like, Icon across it, like a complete fool, you know? And, so, but, what was I gonna say? I totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, like, when I was, like, younger, when I was, like, in high school, and when I was, like, in my early 20s and stuff, like, I really believed, like, well, I think all through my 20s, I really believed I had to make a colorful statement to prove to the world that I was different, you know? I don't believe that today. I believe that you just be true to who you are. That can be in a hoodie. That can be in what everybody else wears, you know? That can be literally you dressed like everybody else and listening to the same music. Like, music is a big part of that, you know? Like, I used to think that listening to really different music made me really different, even if I enjoyed the music, you know, which I did. But what I know today is that I can love a song that everybody else loves, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know? Or I can like a movie that everybody likes, or a TV show. And I think almost for so long, general society didn't accept me as how I felt. So I did everything to resist general society and fitting in. I just wanted no part of it. So I worked my hardest to not fit in, and to, like I said, be resistant to that, you know? And so I would do everything different. I wanted to look different. I wanted to, you know, listen to different music or whatever. Like, if you were gonna tell me that I was loud, I was gonna be louder and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But what's funny about that is that that didn't apply when it was things that I was truly insecure about. Like, you know, my lack of masculinity, or being more feminine, you know, like the way that I sounded, or the way that I walked, or my mannerisms. Like, those things, I wasn't like exaggerated in those, because I wasn't comfortable in those. Those were my insecurities. Those were my biggest insecurities. And you know what's funny is, like, I think today, like, when Alex and I first got married, I really struggled using the word husband. And it was really, it's always been, like, protection for somebody else. Like, they won't understand. And then, like, I'll have to explain it to them. And Alex would just look at me and be like, why do you have to explain anything to them? If they don't understand it, that's, what, okay. You know? And he would say, like, you know, Alex growing up in this very masculine environment, this, you know, environment of machismo, he had no issue using the word husband. He had no issue, you know, like, saying fiance. A fiance was hard for me too, because I would think, well, if I say fiance, then they're gonna assume that I'm engaged to a woman, and then I'm gonna have to explain to them that that's not. And Alex would just be like, why do you have to explain any of that? Okay, and what my fear was, if I said fiance, that somebody's mind would jump to, this is like, got real deep on this video tonight, that then somebody would think to themselves, oh, he's engaged to a woman, does she know? Like, does she know that he's probably gay? And like, oh, I feel bad for that girl. Like, my mind would jump to those places, right? Because that's how I had been wired my whole life, to think that way. To always think 2 steps ahead of what you're gonna think about me, because you're going to assume that I'm gay, or you're gonna make fun of me for being gay, or whatever. And I have to, like, I've been so programmed that way my entire life. And you know, the thing it's interesting is, like, I mean, it is what it is 30 years later, but the same people that bullied me and made fun of me for being gay in high school when I wasn't even out are the same people that congratulate me for my wedding anniversary on my Facebook today. You know, it's just like, and I had that thought on here one night, or I was talking about that on my vlog one night, and like, it didn't really hit me, like, how weird of a statement that was until like after I said it on here. And then like I was thinking about it that day, and I was like, it's really effing true though, you know? Like, if I was gonna go like and talk to like people about the It Gets Better thing and whatever, like that's what I would say. Like, these same people that made my life a literal living hell, where I was afraid for my life on a daily basis, are the same people that are liking my pictures of me with my husband and me with my in-laws and congratulating me on my anniversary. Oh, what a cute couple you guys are. So handsome. I love you guys together. I love seeing you guys, your traveling videos and blah, 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 whatever, right? The same people that made my life a living hell in high school are the ones that are commenting on that on my Facebook 30 years later. I mean, just imagine if I had never gone through that, what I might be today. But I believe that I had to go through that. Like, I really do believe that I had to go through all of that to be who I am today. I don't know, you know, like, I'm not going to say I feel like that was predetermined or whatever, because I don't know about all that. But, I don't know, it's just sad, you know? It's like, I'm sorry that it took you 30 years to get okay with me. You know what I mean? Like, why did I have to live that life? You know, and then people want to understand about, like, why we have gay pride or why we get upset about all this kind of stuff. You know, like when there was that whole discussion about, like, the straight pride parade and whatever. What a joke, you know, that was. It's like, this is why. Because we have been ostracized and we have been put down the majority of our lives, you know, to a point where the flip side of that is being proud of who we are, because we've been embarrassed of who we are. We've been ashamed of and felt guilty about who we were for years, you know? You know, I wonder sometimes if there will ever be a day where it's not gay pride, where it's gay celebration, you know, or whatever. Just, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not that far away from the Stonewall riots in the late 60s. I think it was 69, 68 or 69, you know? We're not that far away from the Stonewall riots. Hell, I mean, I went to high school 30 years ago, and I know today that people are still ostracized in school and college. I get emails from people, you know, in college that will tell me their stories, and they'll be like, thank you for showing that, you know, you and your husband's life, and that's possible. Because I really don't believe that that's possible for me today, you know, and they'll be like, I don't even feel like I can come out. I have, like, grown men and women that email me, and they're, like, so afraid to let their families know, you know? Like, even some of their coworkers don't know. And I'm thinking, these are like 50-year-old people that have lived their entire lives never going on a date, never being able to kiss somebody, never being able to affectionately hold somebody, right? Like, I get emails like this, you guys. They've never gone on a date. They've never had any physical contact with a person of the same sex because they're so afraid of what that means, but yet they know that that's their truth inside. But they're so afraid of how society will judge them for that. That breaks my heart. That a person would live their entire life without knowing love, you know, or the possibility of it. And yet I was afraid of that. You know, I look back and the things that I feel like on high school that I missed are the things that I would never have gone to because I was afraid of the people there that would have said things to me. And you know, like, listen, I'm not like angry about it 30 years later. Like, I get it for what it is. And I would rather, I mean, trust me, like, the fact that people are like cool with me now, why shouldn't they be though, right? But like, 30 years later versus not at all, like, it's not missed on me, but I don't require or need their acceptance and validation today. That's like the same as the woman that I used to work with. I don't require or need her validation today. She can blow it out her ass. I don't really care. If she shushed me today, I would look at her and be like, girl, you think you are something, don't you? Okay, to be shushing somebody. You ain't nobody. Nobody is that high and mighty to be shushing somebody. It's rude, it's disrespectful. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't require or need somebody's validation or acceptance today, and neither do you. I might make my Peterisms video about this today, but neither do you. Like, we just don't, you know? Like, but I thought I did for so long. I thought, like, I had to have, you know, somebody else, a lot of people's acceptance, or I wasn't okay. Well, what I really realized today is that has, in reality, after all the evaluation and the inventory I've done in the last year, that has nothing really to do with anybody else, does it? That really has to do with what Peter thinks of himself. And what the reality is, at the end of the day, is that Peter had quite a few insecurities, that he required somebody else's acceptance and validation because I wasn't good enough on my own. I know that to be true today. It really had nothing to do with anybody else. You know, that's why it's easy for me not to blame them today. Oh, man. So that was a long little dissertation tonight, wasn't it? But that's like how these vlogs are really cathartic for me, because like I think through this stuff as I'm talking about it, you know? I thought that, you know, it was really interesting to me the night that I said that, though, in my vlog, about the same people that made my life hell 30 years ago are the same people that are basically, they kiss my ass to some degree today, right? And it's like, listen, I know who my friends were and who they were not. You know, I mean, it's not like I look back on high school and I'm like delusional about like who was nice to me and who wasn't. I know who was nice to me in high school, okay? Trust me. And I don't care to hold out any resentments. I really don't have any resentments towards those people today, you know? And like the one person that I really, well, like my main bully, well, I kind of had two, like, very serious bullies. I had, like, the main bully that, you know, came and talked to me and we worked things out. And, I would consider him a friend today. But I feel like we worked through that with love, compassion, kindness. Well, I really think what God did was put us in a room together and show each other that we're very much alike. I think that's really what it was like. You know, when you look at your hater in the face and you realize that you can't hate them because they're you know what I mean? Like, you love them as well. And I don't mean gay, because he's not. He's married and has kids and stuff, but I mean, we just were very similar in how we looked at the world and fear and things like that. I can't hate somebody that, you know, like, okay, well, I was afraid of the world and I was afraid of not being accepted and loved, and this is how I acted. Well, so they were afraid of the world and this is how they acted. And it wasn't right and it wasn't correct, and I was the one that suffered as a result of that, but we looked at the world in the same way, you know? And I don't want to have resentments in my life today. That's the thing too. Like I always say this, like it's the number one offender. I'm the one that suffers as a result of having the resentment. I don't want to hold on to it today, you know? But then I had another bully who was, I would say, more of a silent bully. I shared the story in my vlog one night. It's very similar to the show 13 Reasons Why. And there was another show that it was like too. That he was a scarier bully to me, because I never, he just was scarier. Now, I did really hold on to, like, I harbored, like, a deep resentment for him for a long time, because, I literally, I was fearful of him. Like, physically fearful of him. don't think you can really explain to another human being what it's like to be physically fearful until you've been in that situation. And I don't mean like, and I know I'm speaking to some specific people out there right now that have gone through this, whether it's in your own home or on the street. I'm not talking about overall physically being fearful. I felt that as well too, just, walking down the street at times, or whatever. I think when you're different in any kind of way, I think you are always very careful of your surroundings. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being physically fearful of one specific person. Because you are, to some degree, you aren't aware of what they're capable of, but you're completely aware of what they're capable of at the same time. And it's terrifying. And especially when you know that if this person that's highly capable of violence or physically hurting you is going to do it, it's going to specifically be directed at you. If that makes sense. Like, they're not going to do it to somebody else. It's going to be you that's going to suffer. And so it's scary as hell. I was at the end again and I didn't even know it. But that was a long time ago, and I've done a lot of work on that. But I will say that specific situation had a great effect on me in my life, and even some of my relationships. The way that, just even in my relationships, I think. I'm not a believer that, people will say things like, you should just get over it, or, like I think when I talk about like grief and I say, you never move on, you move through. I mean, I think I think that saying goes for a lot in our lives, right? Like, we don't get over stuff. We move through it. We don't get over it. And, many situations in my life, people, if I would share them with people, they would either say it or they would just kind of have this look in their face like, it's been so long, can't you just kind of get over it, And I would be like, I don't know, until I was willing to do the work on myself, that stuff didn't really go away. It really didn't, And, and in all honesty, I mean, 2 years of being with a counselor, where we were meeting, weekly individually, if not every other week sometimes, and doing intensive work on this stuff, really didn't do a whole lot for me, except for validate that maybe I had suffered some very real PTSD as a result of my being bullied, which makes me fearful today of similar situations. But other than that, nothing really started to change for me until my sponsor and I sat down this year multiple times, or on the phone, or just the work that I did on my own with her guidance, and really looked at who I was as a person in relation to these things, and looked at through a 4-step, how that had really affected my life, all of these situations, I don't think any of us really want to live in fear, but I think many of us get very good at living in fear. And I think that's a really, God, the traffic is horrible this morning. I think that's a really, oh my God, all the way up there. I can't even imagine being stuck in traffic like this on your way to work. I think that's a really sad thing about it is that so many of us, I think so many people are, stuck living in fear. I mean, I think about it, right now, I would have been in school 30 years ago, It's weird to think that 30 years ago, I would have been at like my last week of Halloween. I wonder if we would have been out for fall break 30 years ago. Probably. Probably we would have been. I'm like, in my head, I like really quick went through like Halloween 30 years ago, and I would like, I obviously have any clue what I was doing that exact year. I could probably find pictures or something, but I was thinking my mom probably had her Come As You Aren't party. I'm sure she did. You know, and my aunt and uncle and Caroline came over, and God, it's so weird to think about that, you know. It's weird when I think about like my mom being gone. I really never thought that there were like if you had like said to me that week, like, your mom's gonna be gone, and you'll be like, well, I would never have understood like being in a car like filming and talking about my life. First of all, I was very scared of any like attention, and I was very guarded. So which is so funny that I'm not today like that. But like, I think like if you had explained to me what my life looks like today, I would have been like, I didn't want any attention. I never would have done like anything to like draw attention to myself. Like, I would like this kind of like being on YouTube. Like when people are like, oh, Peter has 5 channels because he wants all this attention. Like back then, like that would never. It's really funny when people say that, like that I have all these channels because I want all this attention. I could have one channel and be more outrageous and get 10 times more attention, you know? It's not like I'm getting tons of attention from having a BookTube channel. I mean, it's rather an ignorant statement, you know? It's not like my Peterisms channel is bringing me, like, tons of attention. It's not like me starting more channels has anything to do with me needing attention. It's because the reality is the same people that are watching my Peterisms videos are probably the same people that are watching my vlog or other things, you know? So it's like there's a lot of crossover. It's not like it's an individual audience for each one. I mean, I'm sure there's some individual audiences, but it's not the same. So people are like, yeah, he needs so much attention, so he like has 5 channels. No, it's because I have a lot of interests is what it is, you know? I'm sorry that your life is so boring that you have no interest yet, except for criticizing other people, but I have many interests in my life, so I have many things I like to talk about. Life is funny, isn't it? These are like the times that I like miss my mom, like for like the Halloween parties and stuff like that. It's like if I could just have like one last Halloween party, you know, and really know that like, you know, because when you're doing those things, like this is what gets me sad, is like when you're doing those things, you never know it's the last time, you know? I think like that's the thing that I would, like Alex gets this, like he really gets this now because I say this a lot to him. And because we talked a lot about it in counseling too, you know? That like, and he gets so emotional when it's like we're leaving Fufu's or we're leaving Maya in Las Vegas or whatever, you know? It's like you don't know. Like this could be the last time that you don't ever just know the last time, you know? And so I think it's about, I don't know, I just didn't know, you know, with my mom that it was the last Gatlinburg trip for Christmas, or the last, I don't even remember what we did that Halloween. I think we went to Caroline's for chili. We probably went to Caroline's for chili. You know, that was the last Halloween or that, you know. I remember that year for my mom's birthday. I don't remember what I took her to do. I think we went to the casino for the day or something. But I remember she was very upset that, and my mother and I, you know, like, we did not always speak to each other the nicest. We weren't horrible to each other, but we just did, I would like be like, mother, you know, like, and just one of the things, just so you know, just one of the things I hate, well, first of all, I hate phonies, but I think that goes without saying. But what I really hate is, like, phonies that when somebody dies, they saint them, or that they act like they were a completely different way. I will never sit here and act like my mother and I did not have at times a volatile relationship, because we did. And I think that that goes without saying when you have two alcoholics, in recovery or not, that are in a family together. You know, and my mother and I would fight, and an hour later be loving, you know, like, and forgiving each other. But it was volatile at times. And I can remember wherever we were going for her birthday, I think it was a casino for the day, or like we were going to go stay there overnight. I can't remember what it was. But she was like so upset that she didn't get a birthday cake. Like, this is a lesson. Like, if you don't take any other lesson from any vlog that I've ever said, like, this is a lesson right here, okay? My mother was like of this very childish mind sometimes, and there were certain things that like just had to be, like birthday cake. She always wanted a birthday cake. Like, that was very, very important to her. I don't know what it was. I don't know where that came from. I'm somebody that I could care less about birthday cake. I've never really cared about birthday cake. When I was a little kid, and every summer I wanted an ice cream birthday cake. That was kind of a big deal to me. I think that stopped around age 11 or 12. And then I just was like, I like pecan pie. I just want a piece of pecan pie for my birthday. And I mean, really, I've never liked a lot of attention on my birthday. So I don't get all of that, right? But like, I remember picking up my mom for her birthday, and she was really upset. And she was like, I can't believe that you and Kathy, neither one of you got me a cake for my birthday. And I was like, what? And I can't remember what we were doing, but I was doing something like really nice for her. And I was like, I planned this whole day out for you. Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, I can't believe that like neither you or Kathy even like thought that maybe I might like a birthday cake. And I was like, and she was almost kind of like pouting, like she wasn't getting a birthday cake. And I can remember sitting and talking with her, and I was like, you know what, Mother? I go, you're 64 years old. First of all, okay? Second of all, there will be many more birthdays, and I will never miss another birthday for getting you a birthday cake. It was like, let me prove a point, right? She never had another birthday. I should have pulled my ass over and got that woman a piece of cake or a birthday cake, because that was what she wanted. And I think sometimes, like, what the lesson I really learned through that was how easy we can make somebody's life, you know, by just doing these simple things that they asked for. All she wanted was a birthday cake, you know? But I didn't know. I mean, I thought she was gonna live to be 90. There was no, I mean, not anywhere close on my radar did I ever think that would be my mother's last birthday. Nowhere did I ever believe that would be her last birthday, you know? Okay, now ask me. Well, I guess you can't because I'm vlogging, but you can ask out loud if you want to. If I had known that was her last birthday, would I have bought the cake for her? Yes. Most birthdays I would have bought the cake for her anyway. Her probably previous 15 birthdays I had bought her a birthday cake. I was always that son that bought extra presents and made a homemade card and wrote a poem. I did all that stuff. I always made my mom's stuff special. I don't know what happened that year that I didn't get her a cake, but there was something. But had I known, okay, your mother's gonna be dead, you know, and you know, this is her last birthday, get her a cake? Yes, I definitely would have. But then that's how I should live my life every day, right? Like, that's the lesson, that's the takeaway. That if I had known that, then I should have done it anyway. Well, I should have done it anyway. I should have pulled over that way and been like, Mom, I'm sorry that I didn't get you a cake. Hold on a second. And pulled in somewhere and like actually let her pick out a cake or something, you know? But then my mother, she would have been difficult. And she'd be, oh, no. There are people out there laughing because their mothers are the exact same way. Nope. You didn't think about my birthday before. We're not going to worry about it now. No, I know. We need to get going wherever we're going. So let's not worry about the birthday cake now. Because then I'll be accused of being selfish. I mean, it's just, I'd be like, I can't win. Oh my God, I cannot win with you. You know, like. That's what I don't miss about my mother, okay? That right there, that's what I don't miss about my mom. Those little games that she would play sometimes. I always paint my mother to be this like wise sage, which she totally was, right? But I mean, she knew how to play games too, very well. And how to guilt, I mean, she was a mother, so she knew how to guilt trip. And not that, you know, but I think we all joke about our moms that way, don't we? A little bit, you know. Oh, well. So, well, that's my day. It's so funny when I like, you can see in the background, it looks like the sun is coming up, but I don't know if you can see it over here. It's really not that, well, it shows that like on camera that it's super bright, but it still looks like dark outside to me. It's weird. I'm gonna go up here and turn around and go head home. I'm now like wide awake, so I actually could just make all my videos. I just go home and make all my videos real early today, and then I don't know, go back to bed at 11 or something. But anyway, ow, I just hurt my pinky finger. I don't know what I'm gonna review today. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna review. I kind of wanted to review something for Halloween. Alex and I, tonight we booked our trip for Florida. So we are going to Florida in a couple weeks. Just for like a long weekend. I'm really excited about it. This time he gets to go. So we booked that tonight. And yeah. We got that coming up. We have some fun stuff coming up. Halloween at Melissa's. Oh my God. This battery is about to die. So it's about time for me to end this anyway. So Halloween. Tomorrow is when you, well, I mean, you know what time it is, but it's Halloween Eve. It's Halloween Eve. It's Halloween Eve. Spooky. Everything's so spooky. Anyway, I hope you guys are, I'm gonna get off here now because of the battery. I hope you guys are having an amazing what is today? I hope you guys are having an amazing Wednesday unless you have other plans. But like I always say, do not have other plans. Make the most of your day. Enjoy it. It is Halloween Eve. Do something spooky. Do something scary. Make your Halloween Eve scary for somebody else. But in not a super scary way, but just kind of a scary way. And remember that this is, you're exchanging a day of your life for it. Life is not a dress rehearsal. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look in the mirror every single day and say, I love you, you are valuable, you are important. It is more important for us to accept ourselves and validate ourselves than to seek acceptance and validation from other people. And that's what I have learned. And it's taken me a long time to learn it. I wish it hadn't taken me as long as it did. And yeah, so validate and accept ourselves on a daily basis. And most importantly, make sure that you pass this on to somebody else and let them know how important they are to you. And let them know that you have made an impact on their lives. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!